Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here, and today we take on the role of aspiring restaurateurs. You'll be working to draw in business, improve your restaurant, build a loyal customer base, and create exciting new dishes. You'll be competing with each other for your share of an ever-changing customer pool while always preparing for the inevitable changing market demands. Dining Dynasties is for 2 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, takes 60 to 90 minutes to play, and is published by Majestic Moose Games. It's on Kickstarter right now, so I'm going to show you how the game works, and then I'll see you on the other side. This is a Kickstarter preview, so all the art and components you see here are prototype, and you're going to want to check the Kickstarter link in the description of this video to see all the final art and components. Dining Dynasties is played over 9 rounds, and you're trying to have the most points, and you'll be mainly doing so by moving up the sales track or the reputation track, building onto your current restaurant with some new room tiles, having workers in your supply, and by having the finest cuisine that's given out each round as well for having the best menu. Now each of those 9 rounds goes through 5 different phases. The first phase is the preparation. Now everyone is going to get their own restaurant, their own board, and where they're going to, as I showed you earlier, be adding some new room tiles onto it. They're going to be tracking their food supplies. They're going to be having some of their own customer dice pools, some money, some workers that they're going to hopefully get into their worker supply to allow them to go to these different rooms and activate different things. And they're going to have a space where they can hold some different cards. These are going to be secret in their hand. Now each phase will start with the first player. They'll complete their phase. It will go to the next player in that phase. So all players have done and completed that phase, and then you'll move on to the next one. So in this preparation phase, they can possibly optionally build any one of these rooms onto their restaurant. It's going to give them some more options and different strategies in the restaurant. Now each player has a stack of these tiles, and so they have 9 different rooms that they can possibly add per game. So each game you can use different strategies. And so they can do that. They can actually pay a certain amount, and they can add it to their restaurant, and it's going to be worth a certain amount of points at the end of the game. But it's also going to give them spots that they can possibly place workers to activate different abilities and things like that throughout the game. So let's say in this case we decided to add the dining room. We had to spend 10 coins to add it there. At the end of the game, this is going to be worth 4 points, and it's going to give us the option of putting 2 different workers here, and we'll get +1 of sales for each worker there at that time. Then optionally you can purchase food. Now for each coin spent, you can increase by 2 food supplies by default. So let's say we spend 3 coins, so we can make this go up 6. So I have a total of 7. Then you'll be able to assign workers, and this is mandatory. Everyone starts with 2 workers in their supply, but over the course of the game, you'll be able to add more. Again, these are going to be worth points at the end of the game, but you'll also be able to have more actions. So these different spots, each one of these circles can hold 1 worker, and they'll do different things like moving up the sales track, moving up the sales track, the reputation, or doing certain actions. And again, these will change and add as you put in new room tiles and things like that. But let's say in this case, we actually want to put both of our workers here to our new dining room. And each of this is going to give us 1 sales per worker placed there. So it's going to be 2. So in this case, we're going to move up 2 on the sales. Now again, this is going to be worth a certain amount of points depending where you're on the track at the end of the game. Same for the reputation. This is also going to give us a benefit of dice. I'll show you in just a moment. Reputation gives you another benefit, a different one that I'll talk about a little bit later. Once each player's gone through that preparation phase, then each player's going to go through the action phase, where you can take up to 4 actions. Now, at the beginning of the game, each player had taken 4 cards of their choices from the different card decks, and these would be secretly in their hand. Now there's different cards in the game. The mood cards are blue. They're usually going to help you on the reputation side of things, or helping you manipulate the dice that are in the pool, which are going to be customers that are going to be paying you. The green marketing ones are going to typically help you out with sales, and the menu ones are going to help you possibly win the finest cuisine with the different things that are on the menu. And then there's also events. There's 1 of these cards for each of the rounds. At the beginning of the round, before you start, actually 1 of these is flipped up, and they can actually sometimes be good, like each player immediately gains 1 sales point. Or they can be bad, like each player with more than 2 workers immediately removes 1 from there. So these different events happen once per round. Now you have 4 actions, and the different options you have are taking any amount of cards from any of these decks. Each card is 1 action. You can take 1 of the face-up cards from the pool, or you can play cards from your hand. each one of those things is worth 1 action. So for our 4 actions, let's say as we already started to move up the sales track, we'll take a green one that might help us continue down that track. Maybe we take one of these server cards, and you can only take one of each type per round. And this will allow us to add, pay a coin to add a worker to our worker pool. So we'll add this to our hand. And for the next 2 actions, let's say we play 2 cards from our hand. This one allows us to pay 1 coin and add 1 worker to the worker pool. So we'll do that. We'll add this to our worker pool above our board. And this one we spend 2 coins and we're able to move up 1 on the sales track. I said if we had played it with the television advertising, like a card that looks like this, we would actually be able to add 2 more, but we didn't quite want to do that. We didn't want to spend that much money right now. We did this and we would move up 1 on that sales track. Then once all players have done their 4 actions, we go to the finest cuisine phase. Now in this phase, players, starting with the start player and going clockwise, can optionally place a card face down. If they do, it goes to the next player. If they want to, they can also put one face down or pass. So things go like this until all players have passed. Let's say this player and this player both play 2, and let's say both players then pass. What happens is they flip it up and they're going to see who has the finest cuisine. And you do so by adding up the total amount of numbers. This is 4 plus 2 is 6. But you'll multiply it by the amount of different types of food here, the different suits, if you will. So this would be 6 times 2, that's 12. This one is 5 times 2, 10. So this player would win. They would win a finest cuisine token. This is going to be worth 2 points at the end of the game, but it gives you an ability, an important one, a customer loyalty action right now. So let's say we won, the blue player here. Now the finest cuisine is really cool because the game starts with a customer pool, which we're going to get to in just a moment, of white neutral dice. But when you win this, you can remove one of the white dice and place one of your own dice in there. This is going to be a loyal customer to you. It's going to give you more money throughout this next phase, which we're going to show you right about now. It also will allow you to remove another player's possible die that would be there and put a white one back. Then you'll be moving to the open for business phase, where each player one at a time is going to roll a customer pool, but they're going to roll a certain amount of dice depending on where they are on the sales track. The little number underneath shows this. So we're the blue player, we've moved up the sales track in the first round, we can actually roll 3 dice, where the other players are going to have less options there, and they're going to have less dice and going to be making less money. So we get 3 dice. So we're going to take 2 of the neutrals and 1 of our own customers, because having your own customer in there your loyal customer is going to be great because they're going to give you more money. So they'll roll these dice and they're going to possibly be able to get coins equal to the dice. Now, for the white neutral dice, it'll be face value, so that's 3. For your own loyal die, you're going to double that. So this is 4, so you're going to double that to 8, 9, 10, 11. So you're going to be able to get 11 coins. However, only if you're able to spend a certain amount of food equal to the face value of all the dice, regardless of color. So here we have 4, 5, 6, 7. I have exactly 7, so I can pay for it. Boom, I paid 7, and I'm able to get that. So it's the 3 plus the doubled 4, which is 8. So I'm going to get 11 coins in my income. Now, if you weren't able to pay the food supply, you'd have to basically not gain the income of that die. For instance, if we were at 6, for example, we would not have gotten this. We would have gotten the double 4, which is 8, 9, 10. We would have gotten 10 and spent 6. And so that happens, if you don't have enough food to pay. After each player has gone through that open for business phase, you go to the reset phase, where everyone's going to move their workers to their worker pool. They're then going to pay 1 coin for each of them. So now here I would have to spend 3 coins to the supply. If you can't pay for them, you have to remove them from your worker pool, but you have to have a minimum of 2. Now usually you're spending food there, but if you had more than 5, if you don't have the stock room, which allows you to retain 5 additional remaining supplies here. This says use of stock room to save supplies here. If you did not have this room and you had more, you'd have to go back to 5. Otherwise, you can just leave it where it's at. You'd then be discarding cards that you played that round, unless it said specifically to keep them. And then you're going to count the number of rooms you have. In this case, I have 5 rooms. And that is your maximum hand size. So you'd have to make sure you don't have more than 5 cards at this point. And then everyone would count their coins, and whoever has the least is going to be the new start player for the next round. Then the player, or if it's tied, the players that are highest on the reputation track get to take that customer loyalty action, which if you remember is taking a die out, a neutral die, and placing one of your own in there. This is going to help them get more money, as we showed earlier. Then you'll just move the round marker up. You'll remove the event card for that round, and you'll flip one of these cards over, and it will give you the next event for the next round. And you'll continue doing these 5 phases through the 9 rounds. And at the end of the 9th round, you're going to do final scoring. Each player is going to get points depending on where they are on each of the sales and reputation tracks. You're going to get 2 points for each of your workers in your pool. You'll get points for any of the rooms that you've built. You'll get 2 points for any of the finest cuisine tokens that you've gotten. And you'll get 1 point for every 10 coins that you have. And you'll also add up the face value of the costs of the cards that are in your hand. Whoever has the most points is the winner. I did want to point out the different decks in the game a little more detail. You know, in the Blue Mood deck that typically helps you more with reputation. It's also going to help you sometimes draw a lot of menu cards, which if you remember, is going to help you be able to possibly win the finest cuisine, as we showed earlier, which is going to allow you to maybe get a customer loyalty, get more of your own dice in there, which is going to get you more money. Also sometimes adding more workers to your pool. Now here in the marketing deck, you'll be doing different things like, hey, doubling the face value of up to 2 neutral dice. So that's going to allow you to essentially get more money. Business, dinner, and this one's a free action to play. And you must have 2 of those dining rooms in your restaurant, but it allows you to pay 2 supplies to take 4 coins. So again, always, you know, making money. And this one also, you must have the expanded kitchen and pay 2 supplies to take 4 coins. So a lot of things have to do with money in the marketing deck. Now, as I showed you in the menu deck earlier, there's different types of suits of food there, and those are used to try to get that finest cuisine token. But there's also a couple of cards that allow you to double the value of your hand with a secret ingredient. Well, there you have Dining Dynasties, and as you can see, it makes you feel like you're running your own restaurant while still giving you 3 legitimate paths to victory, like sales, reputation, or manipulating the income-generating dice pool. Now, if you'd like to see the final art, components, and all of the different pledge levels available, you can click the link below me in the description of this video. Now that will take you right directly to the Kickstarter project page, and I'm sure the fine folks at Majestic Moose Games would love your support.